Hello my friends. So it's been a while since I answered some viewer comments and questions, so I thought I would do that today. So I have two questions that I thought I would answer, and then one third, which is a comment that I'm going to respond to. So I hope you enjoy. The first comment that I owe, and I apologize for being so late, is to Zabora. Zabora asked me in my incense making video, yay, another video to share. Off-topic question. When anointing candles, most books say to rub from the middle to the wick. Then flip it over and go wick to the bottom. Now, I know it's away from me to banish and towards me to attract. I get that part. But over never come across anything stating why you start in the middle to dress a candle. You read more ancient ritual texts than I do, and have you ever come across anything that says why they start anointing in the center? I'm just curious. We love you and hope your new job is working out. So, first of all, thank you so much. I have the best subscribers on YouTube, and I know that a lot of you are subscribed to other pagans in this YouTube community. So, I just want to say thank you. I think all of you are fantastic, and I think we have a really strong community here. There's a lot of people who have differences of opinions, and there's all kinds of different ideas and philosophies and everything, but we all seem to get along. We don't get into conflicts or take sides on various things. So first of all, I just want to put that out there. So thank you. Thank you so much. I actually don't really feel like I've really read all that many ancient texts. I think I've read... I think I try to be very familiar with the Western occult tradition. That's kind of what I focus in on, and in particular in the area of Wicca. And sometimes when we go back and we look at various things, we can see where some things have crept in, or we can see the source of something or how something was changed. I mean, we can kind of follow the line. And in this particular case, with anointing a candle starting from the middle and going out towards the wick, and then flipping it over and going towards the bottom outward, I don't know where that came from. So I did a little bit of research, and really, I didn't find it. When I look back at the Key of Solomon, it talks about blessing a candle, but it's blessing the candle itself. And I really don't see too many writers, I don't see really any writers talking about anointing candles until later on, it seems, when what I've researched, Raymond Buckland talks about candle magic. And so it seems to be an American innovation to Wicca and not really part of the original Wicca Western occult tradition, which in itself is kind of a malleable way of looking at things, because anyhow, it's just kind of an odd way of looking at it. The only thing that I can think of, and this is my theory, if anyone has any more information and something that they can document and support, that would be great. Put it in the comments below. My theory is twofold. My first one is I believe it came to America, or it evolved in American tradition based upon the hoodoo root work, where what they do is they have a double colored candle, red and black or white, black, and these are for reversing hexes or reversing curses or reversing fortune, reversing stuff like that. And what you do is you have essentially two candles. From the middle, you have a black candle or white candle, and then you have a white or red or black candle at the bottom. So you essentially have two candles. So it would make sense from this perspective to anoint a candle starting in the middle, going outwards towards the wick, and then flipping it over and going towards the middle to the bottom. That's the way that I think it evolved. The other possibility is that there's a lot of stuff that happens in group work that is not part of the necessarily the oral, the written tradition, or the it's not part of the ritual that you get passed down from let's say one group to the individual, or from one teacher to the individual. And these are the various things that we observe happening, like the way that somebody lights a candle, or the way somebody puts a candle out, or the way that somebody does something in ritual that's not part of the copied material, but it's something that they do, and so you incorporate doing it. So it may be that somebody saw somebody taking a candle, holding it from the middle, anointing it towards the wick, and then flipping it over and doing from the middle towards the bottom again. For example, I tend to do all of my motions, especially if I'm holding an athame, in a circle setting with other people, and even in my own private practice, very close to my body. So I don't really move my athame way out here, or way down there, or way out here. I tend to do it within a very personal space. And the reason for that is because early on, I was with a group of people and we were in a very tight space. And you don't make wide gestures with an athame when you're in a tight space with only a few people. You tend to kind of do it only within your own space so that you don't stab or put somebody's eye out. So that is something that I've kind of took on my own practice out of necessity, not necessarily I was told, oh, you only do it within your space. So that is something else that might have happened, is that it may have been a learned technique. It may have originated in American folk hoodoo root work. Again, that's where my research has led me. So obviously, if somebody has more information on this, please include it below or tell us more about it. We'd love to hear it. My second comment comes from Danus Dragonfly. I have to say I am surprised you have planetary incense. I suppose I think of planetary magic as separate from Wiccan-based rituals. I would be very interested in those who practice Wicca with the planets. Okay, I understand what Danus Dragonfly is talking about, and I don't exactly understand where this idea about what Wicca is comes from. It kind of baffles me. Wicca is very much, first of all, Wicca, what's come to become known as Wicca, is essentially Gardnerian witchcraft. It is a witchcraft practice. So because it's a witchcraft practice, it has all of the other aspects of witchcraft, taking in astrological correspondences, planetary correspondences, candle magic, poppet use, flying ointments, witch jars, witch balls, all of these various aspects of witchcraft practice, sticking needles and nails into poppets, into objects, having candles that are shaped like people, using candle spell work that accomplishes a certain goal, either based upon something stuck into a candle or anointing a candle, all these various things. So any practice that has come out of the Western culture associated with European witchcraft practices is going to be part of Wicca. I don't know how much more I can describe this to people, and I don't mean to insult or offend anyone by this. They're probably just unaware of it. But witchcraft is Wicca. Wicca is witchcraft. It's just that Wicca is usually defined by a certain things, certain elements of ritual magic or ritual use that could be perceived as Wicca, but as for the practice of it, there's really no limitation on what an individual witch would incorporate into their own practice. So planetary magic, planetary incense becomes a part of a witch's tradition, a witch's practice. We are not bound by, oh, well, that's outside of witchcraft, so you can't use that, or, oh, that actually comes from somewhere else, so you can't use it, or it doesn't follow certain guidelines and guidelines and rules and all of the stuff that I kind of made fun of in my last video. So, again, thank you so much, Danus Dragonfly. I hope that answers your question. And also, I kind of went on a little bit of a rant, not necessarily directed at you, but kind of directed at these, what I call Wicca straw men, where people who don't understand what Wicca is, they kind of build it up in such a way that it can be torn down again. Wicca is very much a witchcraft practice that is unique to each individual witch who practices that way. The next one is going to be a bit of a long one because it was an email that I received from a person, and his name is Ventus. So Ventus, thank you so much for sending me this email, and I'm going to address various points in his email. What is Summerland? Is it real? I think so. So Ventus, Summerland is a common concept in Wicca. But I think, and again, it's very hard to speak for all Wiccans because every single person who follows Wicca is going to have a different concept of a Summerland, not a Summerland, or they're going to have various different opinions about this. The idea of Summerland, and again, I draw very much from an Irish, Welsh, mythological legend point of view. And the Summerlands, especially in Irish mythology, have various names to them. There is Ternanog, Ternambio, Ternteragar. There's the land under the waves. There's the idea that various mounds of the Sea are entrances into the realm of faery or into another dimension. So the Summerland is, I consider it to be sort of a concept. And I believe that it is a place of rest for a certain period of time, and then one is reincarnated. That is my hypothesis. That's kind of what I believe it to be. And time in this other realm, based upon folklore and legend and mythology, is very different from our time. A day that goes by in the realm of the fairy or the She or this other world could be centuries in our own time. So someone who enters the land of Summerland, or the Summerlands, their time goes very different than our time. So, anyhow, that's my perception of the Summerlands. Can a person create their own rituals? Yes, absolutely. I think that at some point in your development and your training, you're going to create your own rituals, and I think it's actually encouraged. I think, yes, definitely. Does Wicca believe in fairies and all the little people, not only like spirits, but also like real creatures? Again, this is going to be different for every single Wiccan out there. So I'm not speaking for every single Wiccan. I am just speaking for myself. Yes, I do not call them fairies. I call them the she. And I believe that they are extra-dimensional beings. I believe that they are beings who exist, but in another dimension than us. So, if you want me to expand upon that, that's about all I can really expand on. That's all I can say is, I believe that they are beings living in an extra dimension from us, and I call them the she. Fairies is a term I think is more of a Nordic and Norse view of these beings, but I call them the she. Can Wiccans try to contact spirits, ghosts through spiritualism, Ouija, modern methods, etc.? Yes, I think that there are Wiccans who believe that they can contact spirits through the Ouija board or other methods, and I believe that that is what they believe. For myself, if I contacted a spirit of a relative, I would feel bad, because that would mean that my particular ancestor has not reincarnated. I believe very much in reincarnation. I think that we live a life, we die, and we live a life again. If I contacted a spirit of my ancestor, or any spirit for that matter, I would feel bad, because that would mean that that particular entity, that spirit, has not chosen to reincarnate. So that's how I perceive it. Again, everybody's going to have a different opinion on this. How can I have a relationship or contact with the gods? That's a very good question. And the only thing that I can tell you is look inside yourself, look outside of yourself, find out what it is that you believe. Think about what the gods mean to you, whatever gods or pantheon of gods that you are looking towards, and get to know them and find out for yourself. I don't think there is an A, B, C, D way of developing a relationship with the gods. And also, what is your concept of the gods? There are also various different opinions about what the gods are. For example, I do not believe that the gods are actual beings who live outside of myself. I believe that the gods are essentially built up egregores of a culture and a society. So that's how I view the gods. And one of the unfortunate things is that I think that a lot of people ignore mythology and legends, and I think that that is a shame. If you really want to get to know the gods, study mythology and folklore and legends. They will tell you what these various gods, kind of how their personalities are, how they act, what they're attracted to. It will give you basically kind of the information you need to find out or attract more of a specific deity into your practice, into your life, and into your philosophy. Okay, does the sentence to exercise the water has got a Christian origin? Key of Solomon, Kabbalah. Okay. Again, this is my own interpretation of it, and no, I do not believe so. The Christian belief is to petition a deity, a monotheistic deity in particular, and ask for their favor or to grant them something or make a wish or whatever to a deity. It's an outside petition. It is a passive way of having something occur in one's life. Whereas magic is more of an active force. It is using your will to cause change to occur in conformity with one's will, as Aleister Crowley described it. So you are using your intention, you are using your own divinity to cause something to change. So when we consecrate, bless, or sanctify, or somehow charge anything, we are using our own energy, our own divine given empowerment to cause something to change. We are not petitioning and asking and using passive energy to pull it down and put it into something. At least that is not how I do it. Maybe other people do it differently, and if that's what they do, that is fine. So, to answer your question, that is how I perceive it. What do you think about the gardener initiation? I think the gardener initiation is an experience. And I assume that you might be talking about Gardnerian initiation. I think any initiation is an experience. A dedication is an experience. It is an experience, and I think it would be different for any organization, group, or whatever that any particular person joins. It is the difference between me describing a really good piece of tiramisu to you and you having a piece of tiramisu cake. I could describe all of the various parts of the tiramisu. I could describe how moist it is, how sweet it is, how flavorful it is, how chocolatey it is, how the coffee flavor. I can describe all of this to you. But until you actually bite into it, chew it, and swallow it for yourself, you don't really know it. So that's how I look at initiation and, in a sense, dedication. One has to experience it in order to really understand it. And also, I think it's also very important to understand that dedication is an individual act. It is something that you are dedicating yourself to, whereas an initiation you are being brought into, you are becoming a part of. So those are the two differences between those things. It does not mean that one is lesser and one is greater. It's not that at all. People just need, I want to emphasize that there's just a difference between these two things. So, Ventus, I appreciate those questions. I hope that answered them. If you have any other further questions, please feel free to contact me, and again, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Lastly, I have a comment. This should be fun. I have a comment from WillYouDie4Jesus. This is in all capital letters, so imagine me yelling. You witch pieces of shit got no power. I battle demons, meaning I deliver people from demons. Demons worse than you, powerless penises. Bring it, witches, bring it. Where I responded, when you battle demons, do you don armor like in olden days when they wore metal armor? Or do you power up like Iron Man or the Power Rangers? As for my penis, yes, it is rather powerless. I can really only get it powerful for like maybe an hour a day. But I must admit, for that 1 hour, it can really take a beating. What shall I bring? It. What is it? What am I supposed to bring? So, just so you know, this particular comment was left on my Anita Fuentes video where I was responding to her talking about Wiccans in the military. This particular person, after I posted that comment, disabled comments on their Google Plus account, so I could not respond to their comment, and they deleted my comment. So in response, I deleted their comment and I removed it. I feel it is very disrespectful to leave a comment on someone's channel, especially like that, and then disable the ability for the person to comment back to you. It's essentially like somebody knocking on your door, you going to answer it, and you opening the door and they yell, motherfucker, blah, 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 and then they run off. You don't get a chance to respond to them. So, I deleted that comment. Now, I do know that there are people who have their comments disabled, meaning that people can't comment on their comments. And depending upon who they are, like if I know them, they're part of the YouTube pagan community, and there's probably a reason why they do that, I will leave those comments there. But just to let anyone know, if you disagree with me or you call me names or whatever, I'm not going to delete the comment unless comments are disabled, or anyhow, there are certain points where I will leave a comment up, even if it's negative. For the most part, I don't receive very many negative comments, so that's another good thing about our community. So, anyhow, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. And yes, that job is going great. Things are really starting to work out for me. And it's because of the energy that many of you have sent to me. So, thank you so much, and blessed be. Again, this is going to be different for every single Wiccan out there. So I'm not speaking for every single Wiccan, I'm speaking for myself. Yes, I do not call them fairies, I call them the sheep. And I believe that they are extra-dimensional beings. They are beings who exist, but in another dimension than us. So, want me to expand upon that? That's about all I can do. That's all I can say. Believe that they are being living in an extra dimension.